Hello everybody, it is Hi Kelly Trees. Oh, every time. And today I am bringing you guys, I don't know, about a $1,200 gaming PC build featuring some pretty good components here. You got the new 6th generation Intel Core i5 processor, 3.2 gigahertz, I believe 6 megs of cache. What else? Socket LGA 1151, so that's DDR4. Speaking of DDR4, I'm bringing you 8 gigs of 2133 megahertz. Yeah, no, 2400 megahertz RAM. With, I'm sure you guys seen this one before. It's kind of, I mean, it's decent. It's a middle-end graphics card, but it's a GTX 750, not the Ti, just a 750. This one's actually really good. Comes stock overclocked, but I think it runs pretty good games because I use it to run most of my other stuff. Let me adjust this mic a little bit. Alright. Keeps moving over. I don't like that. Alright. That's a little better. I'm also got a 120 gigabyte Hyperx Ssd, 500 write, 500 read. So it's pretty quick. I already tested that. Boots into my OS, I don't know, good 10-15 seconds. So if my head's cut off a little bit, the way I moved and the positioning of all this stuff and the lighting isn't that good, but that's getting worked on. And something that just came in the mail not too long ago is an MSI Gaming M3. This is a really good motherboard. It's got audio boost 3, DDR4 boost, M.2, which is for SATA Express, which makes your SSDs quicker. Gaming LAN, so it's got LAN killer, E2400. So this thing's just got so many features that it even knows what to do with. It also comes with a free game boost and AMD Crossfire and SLI capable. So a couple other things. I'll put this stuff down. So also inside's going a 1 terabyte Toshiba high performance hard drive, 7200 RPMs. What is up with this mic? It keeps rotating. Alright, well, we're getting somewhere now. Also, I may or may not add this 5-in-1 Extreme. So this has got the good audio boost. I may not need it, so we'll just see. To cool that processor I'm using, actually, I have it out of the box. This cooler, it's pretty good. It'll keep it below 40 Celsius, no problem. Also, Logitech G930s, these are sitting up on my monitor right now. A G602 mouse, gaming mouse. I really like this mouse. Both of these things, actually. Recommend you guys go get yourself a pair. Go to Newegg, or you can probably find it on eBay or something a little bit cheaper with the deals that they got going on now. To power everything, I got a CX-500M. I have that out too. I added this red silicone kind of stuff that goes over the top so it keeps it quiet and there's no rattling on the case. Speaking of cases, I am using a Raidmax Vortex 302 mid-tower ATX case. Let's see if you guys... It's got a decent amount of room. It's got a red thing. You could remove these, easy access. You got your hard drive, SSD, opticals, your regular motherboard goes right in here. You got 6 expansion slots on this case. 120mm rear, 120mm top, and 2 120s or 2 140s on the front, I believe. So, and the last but not least, the keyboard, which I would recommend to everybody and anybody, is the Corsair K70 series keyboards. These are some of the best mechanical keyboards, in my opinion, on the market, and they're not too pricey either. You can get them for I think this one you can get for about $89, which is the Chery MX, just the red. I think they make a blue and they have an RGB. Obviously, the RGB is going to be a little bit more money, but that's still not bad. So, let's get this build going. Right now, we're going to get to installing the power supply. So, go into your screws. Look for the coarse thread optical drive or power supply screws. I don't know if they'll be labeled. Depending on the case, it may or may not be. But I will show you what they look like. So if this light will cooperate with me. Probably shouldn't do black on black either. So let me... This is a coarse thread. Focusing on this. There we go. Brighten it up just a smidge. Alright, so I'm going to move up on the case. Man, why is this lighting so bad here? Alright, so depending if you have a top mount, oh, I can see that top mount, whether it's mounted up here or a bottom mount, they're going to go in the same way. You want to make sure that your plug, well, look at more of your airflow situation. How many fans you have, if you got fans up towards the top of the case or whatever, and you're only using a few fans, I recommend going power supply up. But if you just want to keep the power supply cool and it's a bigger unit, I would flip it upside down. Just make sure you have a dust collector at the bottom. But I'm gonna go ahead and mount mine top up. So make sure there's no cables in the way when doing this. Sorry about the reach if I got in your way. If you guys can see that at all. But so it's not going to go in too well because you got a little bit of a gap. But when you start putting the screws in, you should not run into an issue. So we're going to start this earlier rather than later. When it comes to putting screws in, do opposite sides first. So, just adjusting the mic here. I'm going to go this side. You got to kind of find where the screw hole is. Some of them could be a little tricky. And then pull that end towards. Find the next screw, which is right here. You got two holes, but there's also a little cutout in this. Oops. This doesn't have a magnetic tip, so it's a little difficult. Because I don't feel like getting up and getting my other good one, but this is fine for now until I gotta work with the motherboard. Next one is right here. Ooh. Just make sure you just keep them nice and snug. You don't over tighten, and you don't want them too loose either, because you don't want stuff falling out or rattling on you. So that looks pretty good. It ain't going anywhere. Oh, and make sure you're doing this with the power switch off. Don't want that power switch being on, because you could short out your stuff if it gets to that point. But I'd say we're done right now. Then we got to go work on. We're back with the motherboard section of this now. A few things before we get into actually building this. I want to talk about a few things. When you're going through your motherboard box, so when you're going through this thing, you want to make sure you also take out the I/O board or the I/O shield, also your SATA plugs, and I believe that's it for the motherboards, unless you get like a higher end one. Then it comes with maybe another kit thing that goes into like an optical drive. And when you're inside your CPU box, if you're using an aftermarket, you do not need your stock fan. It's not very good anyways, but so now we can actually get to building this. So we're gonna first start by putting the CPU in. So I'm gonna zoom in on this. Let me get a little bit of light over here. That's not bad. I think I could deal with that. So right here is our i5 Skylake CPU. I'm actually really excited for this build. So you just go ahead, pop this lid right off. Fingers grip the corners. Pull back this hook. Flip it up. Pop this up. Now you want to watch where there's a little triangle. If you look this down, you see there's a little triangle right here. The triangle is going to line up with that corner. Going to drop the CPU in. Make sure this goes under the screw. Push it down. It might be a little bit hard to get under there. It'll feel like you're going to break it, but you're not breaking it. And CPU's installed. Save this piece in case you have any motherboard issues. You put this on top to return it, and then you're able to ship it back. If you don't have that piece, then you're not going to be able to get a refund. So make sure you save that, put that in a good spot. You're not going to lose it. Same with this. Got a CPU issue. It's got to be sent back in this. Now we're going to install the RAM. The RAM is pretty simple. Pretty sure everyone's installed RAM once in their life. This may be a little challenging because it's dual channel, but once you get what you're trying to do, it's not that hard. So I'm going to start by pushing all of these and making sure that none of these are tightened. Then we need to go ahead and make sure that actually on the motherboard you might see the spots where they're supposed to go. If you got a good motherboard, it should say, but this one says, I don't know if you can see, it says DIMM 1, DIMM 2, DIMM 3, DIMM 4, and then it says first use DIMM 2 and DIMM 4. So DIMM 2 is right here, DIMM 4 is right here, so I'm going to use these two slots. Just line up with the hole, or the little notched edge, push down to lock it in place. Do the same thing, line it up, put it in straight down, one side first, and apply even pressure. Not that hard. And then you could just pop these two back in place. And now your RAM's installed. Now we need to install our aftermarket cooler. This part can be difficult depending on what cooler you have, but mine's pretty simple. You start with the 4 white pins. You find your whatever socket you have. I have 1155. Take it, you put it to the 1155 end, and now when you go, it should go right in. Well, actually, before we do this, you want to make sure you know which way it's going to be positioned, because it may not fit with these heat sinks here. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do this the same way I did on my other one. Yep. So these notches, I want to make sure I line up C and these two C's right here this way, so these notches are pointing out, so I shouldn't have a problem connecting these clips to the sides of them. So then I'm just going to go push these down, and the last one, ooh, this one's stubborn. This one doesn't want to go in for some reason. Ooh, hold on, give me a second. There we go. And why doesn't this one want to go in? Ooh. There we go. Sometimes you just got to rework them. Now, then it comes with these black ones. These ones make sure that it locks in place in the back of the motherboard. So you line them up with the hole, push down. They'll go in super, super easy. Oh, that would not be good. Get stuck in the worst spot that it possibly could. In, and this one's in. Okay, so all 4 of these black things are installed, so this thing isn't going anywhere right now. Now, depending on your cooler, it may or may not come with, or if you're doing this a second time, you're going to need to pick up yourself some thermal paste. This is some pretty good thermal compound. Well, the point of doing this, or how you spread it, I gotta find a thing that I can spread it with. Well, you see, these SATA plugs, this is just what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these out. I'm not using the cable, I'm using the plastic. So with this out, this is the perfect bag for me to put my finger in so I could rub it around. I'm gonna tell you why I do this. Most times you see people, let me zoom in on this. When they apply thermal compound, you'll just see them take a pea-shaped or a pea-sized amount and put it right on there. Yeah, you could do that. It will spread around, but CPUs are the most important. You don't want them to overheat. So my recommendation, just a smidge more compound to it. Get yourself, I don't know, maybe wax paper or a sandwich bag. Something that you could stick your finger in and smear it around with. You want to make sure you cover the whole CPU. Stuff's drying out. I'm going to have to get some new stuff. This will work though for the time being. So why I say it's good to do this, it'll give you a better contact on the against the heat sinks itself, which will make it cooler. When you normally just put it on there, it doesn't cover the whole CPU. It only covers just a mid portion of it, and this just ensures that the whole processor gets cooled. So now to mount this, I want to find the best place possible because my CPU fan input is right here. So I want this in a way that it will be able to reach there no problem. And I also need to know which side it blows out. From experience, I know that the outtake fan, which sends it out to the back of the case, is this one. So I'm going to send that this way towards the I/O ports, which is out of the case. So this one's going to be in the front, taking in the cold air from the front fans in the case. So I'm going to hold it like this, hold out both of these pins back, place it down. I'm going to lock the back pin in place first, pull it forward, and lock this back one in place. And the heatsink is officially and completely installed. Wait, actually, missing a part. Last but not least, the CPU fan. And time to install this bad boy into the case. Ooh, I'm excited. Alright. Ooh, let me move my mic so you guys can actually hear me. Alright, so when it comes to installing the I/O shield, this thing, it is really simple. You just go from the inside of the case, and it is gravity forced, so you just really kind of got to push it in. There's a tight squeeze, but you'll get it eventually. Ooh. Make sure that it goes in there completely. You might gotta go from it from different angles. There we go. Alright. So it's sitting on there flush now. So there is strategies to putting in a motherboard so it doesn't interfere with your power supply or anything. Let me just move some of this stuff around so it'll be good. Alright. So I'm going to grab my motherboard and I'm going to start putting it on an angle down through this way, pull it out towards the top of the case and straight down. Now I'm using the same standoffs that I did, so I'm not going to have to make any changes with that. Make sure all this lines up. Ooh, oops. That's why my I/O shield was going on weird. Put it on backwards, give me a second. Alright, good thing to note, which I forgot to note, this right here, this PS2 connector, whether it's keyboard or mouse, I think it's both, yeah. This always is at the top of the case, so reinstall that. Alright, there we go. We'll go ahead and do the same thing. Angle, back, and then down. So just real easily line it up with what's on there. Line them up with the standoffs. It might be a little challenging with this one because it's got such a weird I/O shield that's kind of got some foam on the back, so it's hard to really push it up against there, but it'll go. Alright. So the best way to approach screwing it in is, first of all, get out all of your screws that you're going to need. Motherboard screws are fine thread, or fine threaded. I'll take a picture of these. So most of you guys should know what those are. I'm going to need 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to go put them back in my screw holder, which is just a plastic cup. Then what I'm going to do is just... I'll plug it in just to get this cord out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my case fan. It's really easy, just slide it right into wherever your case fan. It should be somewhere around this area. So the screw that I'm going to start with is back here. You guys won't be able to see that one because that's the one that is on the standoff the most that I can get to start pushing this board over. So you might got to work with it a little bit. Don't pull too hard on it because you don't want to break the board itself, especially if they're really expensive, then you can't get them replaced. Haven't done that yet, knock on wood. But as long as you're careful with them, you shouldn't run into any issues. Alright. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead and put in all the screws so you didn't have to watch that misery of me putting in 9 screws. Next. What goes next? The GPU. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my PNY Accelerate 750 GTX 750 right here. This guy's going to go, you want to make sure that If you have a back bracket here where your PCI slots are, make sure you go ahead and remove that. Find your first PCI E by 16 slot. This is a 3.0 by 16. Find your first slot and plug it right in. And make sure that that cable this little piece back here goes to the top and locks it in place. If it does, you know you're all good. It's just supposed to stabilize it on the motherboard so it doesn't move back and forth, or if you have a second one, fans aren't hitting or anything. So that's what I like about what they did with the new motherboards. They added that feature, so even without a screw, it's still pretty secure in there. Now, since that's the only thing that's going to be going in here, because I don't need my sound card, I can go ahead, get the bracket, and mount it back up if I can find that. Right where I left it. So I'm gonna grab a coarse thread screw. I'm gonna put this and make sure these two clips go on the side. Find where my first slot is that my card comes, so I can lock my card in place with the screw to. Push the card up as much as possible to prevent any drooping. Oops. And put the screw in, hold it up, and screw it in place. We're done with all the major components, I believe. Yep, now we just got to get to wiring everything up. So go ahead and do that now. Alright guys, so I'm going to get started on installing my optical and hard drives. So this guy too. This one's pretty easy. Go to the front of the case, take off the front plate where your drive's gonna go. Take it, make sure none of the cables are in the way. Just kind of push it back, make sure it lines up, and just kind of wiggle it around till it comes into place. And you see it lines up where you want it to, and it's in the hole that you want it to be. Now the optical drives, I believe, are fine thread as well, fine thread motherboard screws. What did I do with, alright, so I take this, put it right in. Now, when it comes to putting this stuff in, one screw is fine as long as you make it tight enough. So, problem solved. Your optical drive is installed. Now, the SSD and the hard drive. I'm going to put these in place, but I'm not going to lock them yet or put the screws in. I'm going to go at the very, very top. The SATA and the SATA power facing out. Alright, that's in place. And the SSD, same. SATA power and port out. Slide it right in. Now be very, very delicate that that stuff doesn't fall out while we turn the case. This front panel I can pull off. Exposing these right here. Our SSD is right up here, although I will move it to the middle row. Or actually, I'll go bottom row, so they're closer together. So bottom row. One screw should be fine. This one uses also the, not coarse thread, the fine thread motherboard screw. I hope I said fine thread when I was talking about the optical drive. If I didn't, I meant fine thread. Oops. Some mistakes that'll kill ya. And the regular hard drive is gonna be what you call it? Coarse thread. Oh, this thing is not even right. I'm gonna go with the middle row. Oh, there we go. There we go. That looks right. Put this guy right in there and push it back as far as it'll go. Boom. Hard drives are installed. Now you gotta plug everything in. Since this is a really bulky cable, when it comes to cable management, I'm not going to feed it through the back because it's just plain, the case just won't close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to feed it from below the hard drive. It'll come back here, and then I'm going to pull it up through here. I hope it fits. Oh, just the right amount. And I'm going to put it into the ATX power port right there, and she's in. If you guys can't tell where that is, it's just right here, not the RAM, right next to the RAM normally. Now on the case, well, okay, next one, which is also part of the power supply and part of the whole power unit in general. Oh, my phone's in my pocket. Flashlight on. Where? Let's see if we could. I don't think you guys can see that yet. Okay, actually, yeah, you can. Right. Where's my screwdriver? Right here is your CPU power. This is the plug that we fed through before we mounted the motherboard that I messed up on. This one's got to go right into that port. So line it up with the top of the clip, and it's all plugged in. And you can even pull it through a little bit too through the back, so it's not so much slack up the top. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Now, down here we have a few things that also has to be plugged in. On the case, it comes with reset switch, power LED, reset switch, and hard drive LED, if I didn't already say that. They normally have little keys on the motherboards. Let me see. Right. Oh my goodness. Where's my screwdriver now? Okay, so right here is our key. It tells us this one right here is power LED, hard drive LED, power switch, and reset switch. So we go ahead and plug these guys in. I would say start with the bottom, just because it's easy to put the top ones in first. So the bottom of this is a hard drive LED. The colored wires, these colored wires are always positive, and the white or the black is always negative. These ones are black and black because it doesn't matter which way you put them in, so they can go anywhere. But so I'm going to start hard drive LED. Positive side is the left, so that would be just like that. Then I have up on top of that is power LED, so that's these two guys. The green one is positive, so positive is the right, and the negative is the left. So now those are in. The reset switch is at the bottom, so that's what we start with right here. Reset switch, so it should be all labeled. Put that guy in. Wow, this one's so much easier than my other motherboard is. And then the power switch. Boom. Okay, now I'm gonna feed these guys through so there's not so much slack, so that looks all nice. Okay. Doesn't look too bad. Let's see what. Oh no. Okay, I was able to get it out. Whew. Also included is USB 2.0, USB 3.0, and HD audio. So USB 3.0 goes all of the way right under the power plug. So right there, right in the middle of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that guy in. I think that if... No. I'm going to do this an easier way. I'm just going to go right through this side. And put this guy right there. USB 3.0, done. USB would be down here towards the power supply. You normally have a few of them. You got USB 1 right here, so that's the one we're going to put it in. Depending on it, you have a 3 or 4 pin. This one's a 3 pin, or a 3 or 7 pin. Just line it up, or a 4 pin, 4 or 5 pin, so a 9 pin. Just line that up with the notched out edge and put it right in. Not that hard. Now, high def audio is all the way at the end. Line it up with this little notch that it comes with, and then push it right in. That one's not too hard either. So now all the front ports are done. Now we need to get power to our hard drives, our 2 hard drives and our optical drive, and then sort these cables out a little bit, make it look a little nice and neat. So for that, that's what the cables we'll need. Let me turn this flashlight off. Okay. What we need is, you guys can just use the regular, but I'm going to use a 90 degree SATA plug with just a regular 180 plug. This one's going to be for the optical drive. This one right here is going to be for SSD, and this one right here is going to be for a regular hard drive. I believe we have enough ports on here to do all 6 gigabytes per second, which we should, because it's a new motherboard. You just got to figure out which ones are for what. So time to pull out the manual. Alright, so I'm sure you guys can't see this because I can't see this. But man, the lighting is so much different from when I'm recording to when I'm not recording. But this right here is SATA Express. This is what I'm going to plug all 3 of my drives into. So this one I'm just gonna set all these up. Okay, so that's in. I'm gonna have to flip this to the back. Ooh, this thing's getting nice and heavy now. Alright, and then on the back we have our 2 hard drives, the SSD and the regular hard disk drive. This one's going to be for a hard disk, and this one the SSD. I'm going to push this guy right through and send our other cable through this top, and also send this through. Then this might be hard to get to. I don't even know if I'll be able to get to it. Scooch this down, this mic. I gotta plug these into here. Now it's very critical which one the SSD goes into. The SSD has to go into the bottom row. So this one right here. It's the first SSD. So bottom row, bottom top. And it's in. Then my second hard drive, which goes in the second bottom row, because this is for hard drives. Put that in there, and our optical drive optical drive right above that one, right above our solid state drive. This is a tough one to get in. Alright, there we go. Now we need to add power to all this. For that, not too difficult, but what we need is one 3 SATA power connector to whatever our module. I don't even know what they call these pins, these 6-pin, I guess. And we also need a 2-pin or a 2 SATA connector. I don't even know how they name these cables here. So this is just going to get fed through the back end and connect to the front end right next to the SATA plug or the SATA connector. Then I'm going to fish it through to the bottom. And this is a peripheral drive, so if you look on, if you're looking down here on your power supply itself, it will say peripheral and SATA, which is what you're going to plug it into. To keep it all easy and simple, I'm just going to plug it into the bottom left row. And I'm going to do the same with my other SATA plug. I don't know where I put it though. Okay. So I'm going to go to the back. Well, I'll just flip the case around. Man, that's looking real sloppy back there. And connect it to here. Make this thing come down, connect to here. Fish it through the side and go to the bottom. Flip the case back around. Grab the power plug and put it right to the right of. Right to the right of. Nah, but next to the one that you just plugged into the power supply. Now you got yourself a fully working computer. I'm gonna go ahead and do some cable management. You guys could watch that. And I'll do it real quick. Then we'll get to burning the OS. Alright guys, so I finished up the cable management. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Probably not. Alright, so I finished up the cable management. Now the big test is to see if the back plate fits on. If it fits on flawlessly, did a good job. Oops, where are these clips at? Okay. It's all on. It's all stored back there now, so there we go. It says right there, Hyperx. It's got my gaming G skill and the Intel Core i5 6th generation logo right on the side there. So now we're going to go ahead and, well, you guys probably aren't going to see this, but I'll power it up. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and power it up. Why not? Just move my stuff. Alrighty, so you guys are going to be watching that screen that's right in front of you. Guys will be watching that screen right there, right in front of you guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the computer, and if it powers up, we got ourselves a winner, and I'm going to go ahead and install the OS. Alright guys, here it comes. Everything sounds good. See if we get an icon on the screen. Did his first restart. Let's see if it'll go this time. Oh, green light went on, or blue light. And press F1 to run setup. Oh, dang it, I need a new keyboard. Unless it'll go now. Okay, here we go. Here we go. There we go, guys. Computer's all up and working.